with a little Miss Doubtfire. I don't know if people notice without cake on my face. Just making a fun little intro.
Yeah.
But now it's time to get serious because this is the very serious Midway Eagles Sports Show, a show about Midway Eagles sports.
You don't say.
Yes, I do say
You don't
time
say.
and time again. Clay Cunningham, Dylan Brown, Sports Information Department of this fine 4-year institution with a whole smorgasbord of sporting events.
Have we hit double-digit shows yet, or
this is number 9? 8.
8? Oh
So
man, I'm a little ahead of myself.
I'm not trying to jinx it because once we get to that 10, that's sweet syndication money. If I understand YouTube correctly, but
I know.
You know what I do understand correctly? Full calendar. Like the last couple of weeks, my scripts have been almost like one page. We're like a page and one half this week. Overstuffed.
Busy
stuff.
Busy stuff.
But we're going to start out with a first in the history of Midway University, the first ever home victory for our Midway Eagle. I didn't bring the towel, but the Midway Eagle Sprint football team.
Clayton, you had one job. Where's the towel, man?
It said 2022. Don't you remember? That was.
I know, but still, you can still wave it like a terrible towel, you know.
Well, David edit something in my hand, so it'll look cool. But yes, got some force 4 turnovers. Got just enough plays on offense and special teams to come out with a 20-12 win over Oakland State.
Oakland City, you mean?
One of the two. Yeah. Not just, from my home,
City.
Oakland City, from the state where I lived for over 30 years. I should know that. But Dylan, we were both on the scene. What were some things that leapt out to you from this homecoming victory?
It's there's still a lot of penalties. We do still have a lot of penalties. We try and make it as difficult as we can on ourselves, it seems like. It seems like we have 2 different paths, like path of least resistance, I guess you could say, and then path of most difficult.
Path of personal fouls.
Path of personal fouls, and we seem to take the unfortunate path of making it very difficult on ourselves. But with that said, a terrific, a nice performance by them, especially defense, to force 4 turnovers and really kind of clinch the game in that aspect. So, hats off to them. A nice win. We call it our home site, even though it's technically like a neutral site. I don't know. But anyway, it's still a home win. You can't take that away from us.
Yes, anywhere we are, it feels like home when you're in Midway Eagles gear. But you mentioned the 4 turnovers. That's the big one. Second quarter, we had Austin Johnson scoring a scoop and score from 14 yards out on a Ben Jones strip sack. We got a pick in the end zone to help preserve a 14-point lead. A 14-point lead that was earned by a 4th and 12, 19-yard touchdown pass. It's just a lot of it was a lot of good, a lot of bad, but we did make a lot of clutch plays in that game, including onside kick recovery.
Yeah,
which is always a
I said that too. I as soon as they scored the touchdown, I was like, man. Now, just please recover the onside kick. Just recover the onside kick. But to their credit, they did. Also, speaking of that touchdown pass, that was 4th and 12, I think you said.
From the 19.
From the 19. So it was on the opposite end of the field from where I was standing. But hats off to it seemed like a terrific pass by Keegan Hill and a nice catch by Mason Wilcox. So Midway Athletic Work Study, Mason Wilcox.
Okay, that's coincidence.
Coincidence?
Probably. That's up for debate. But yes, it was And the defense too, only giving up 2 touchdowns despite Oakland City getting in our territory 9 out of 12
It
possessions.
seemed like there for a little while they were just they had a tent set up and they just kind of camped out right there.
Yes.
But again, credit to the defense. Brady Bond with a couple of picks. He was our McDonald's Sprint Football Player of the Game, so congratulations to him. But no, hats off to that defense. They constantly were creating havoc for the Mighty Oaks, who really only had 1 big pass play the entire game. So hats off to them. It's good to get that win. Now you now you kind of build a little bit momentum going into what is a very winnable game, I think, this weekend.
Yeah.
Which final score might be in the low.
Yeah, if you like rock fights, here's like yes, they're traveling up to Whiting, Indiana, my neck of the woods.
There you go.
Which an area that, I mean, Whiting, you might as well just build a peninsula on Lake Michigan and put a football field there. It could be on the nippy side, but Calumet, I believe was the regular season league champion last year. Got off to an 0-3 start, but have won their last 2 games, and they've only allowed 6 points in those 2, and so it's kind of a conflicting tale, as is a lot of things with this on both sides of the ball. Defensively, outstanding. They're tops in the MSFL in total yards and rushing yards, 203.8 total yards, 61 rushing yards. To say that passing has been a challenge for them this year would be...
What was the stat?
Well, overall, in five games, they've thrown for 377 yards, and in their 19-6 win over Fontbonne last week, 3 quarterbacks threw a combined 13 passes, 1 completion for 7 yards.
1 for 13.
I was having like flashbacks of like the 2006 Bears winning with Rex Grossman at a 1.3 quarterback rating.
Yeah.
We can't talk about that Super Bowl that year because then things get contentious because a certain somebody liked it a little more than I did. That's off topic. Yeah. But yes, if you're expecting like
some
Big 12, if you're thinking, this is going to be like Big 12 football circa 2015, I would look elsewhere. But I try to get a contingent of my Northern Indiana family to travel up there. So
I think they need to.
I've been spreading the word.
You haven't experienced life until you have experienced the Midwest Sprint Football League.
I saw my first game in person.
My hot take of the year.
I feel like I'm a changed man. I'll let the viewers determine if that's the case. But
8 p.m. kick.
8
p.m. Eastern time kick. Get your coffee ready and take a midday nap on Saturday if you need to.
And that's our football portion. Now, kind of something that snuck up a little bit as I was doing my show prep. Because I had everything kind of set away, and then it's like, let's look at the schedule, see if I'm missing anything. And then it occurred to me, by the next time we're in here, a men's basketball game will have been played in now, just how and let's not a complaint, sort of like lifelong resident in Kentucky, someone who lived in Indiana for 32 years. You don't need to tell us to be excited about basketball. It's just it always comes out of nowhere. But
it really does.
But yeah, the Akeem Scott era starts here next Monday against Virginia Lynchburg. There's always a lot of unknowns with a new coach, but one thing I think that settles it in when you bring back 4 of your top 5 scorers, including the reigning scoring champion of the River States Conference.
Yeah, Donnie Miller, you're always happy to have him back. Nick Keaton as well. He played a key part in that. And last year made a really big improvement last year, I thought. So excited to see what they can do. I'm happy that we were able to get this game scheduled. Thank you, UK and Georgetown, for completely screwing up the schedule. They play an exhibition on Friday. They kind of screwed our schedule up. But anyway, we got it worked out. Monday night. Who needs Monday night football when you can get Midway men's basketball on Monday night?
Midway.
Who needs Monday night football?
Midnight Madness. Well, something.
Who needs Monday night?
We've got enough alliteration on the show. One thing that should be pointed out, we did have the top scores back. This was the second lowest scoring offense in the River States Conference last year, which I understand. I wasn't here, but I understand that's kind of by design, pace of play. It's also my understanding that is probably not going to be a similar script this year.
It does not seem, in talking with the players and talking with Coach Scott, it seems like we're going to play very fast, very rapid pace. We're gonna chuck up some threes, I think. So excited to see that brand of basketball. Last couple years, it's worked for this program to be able to grind out games. It's just the way those games were. It was really a grind, is what it was. But excited to see what they can do this year. Coach Scott in his first season. Got a handful of transfers, I think. Haven't quite gotten the chance to go through that roster yet. Going to be doing that here in the next couple days, so make sure you stay tuned. Also, same shameless plug, might be getting a season preview up here soon in the coming days for that program. So
go MidwayEagles.com.
Go MidwayEagles.com
for all your Eagle needs.
You heard it here first.
And now Dylan, I think we gotta share some recovery. So we're going on to women's soccer, and maybe the wildest ride of my professional life, slight hyperbole at most. Trying to figure out if the Eagles qualified for if our 4-1 win over Ohio Christian last night locked us into the River States Conference tournament. Initially, we concluded yes. Then we determined no. We published an article online, and then one of us reevaluated and
like 6 times. So
I think we've made it.
What's that meme? The meme where you have all the numbers.
Yeah, I think the Hangover. Numbers. I think it was. I think
Clayton was living with those numbers.
But I want to share the scenario. Now we've said before, infotainment. This definitely I think is going to fall in the info. But I want people to see if if I have it solid. Now if you keep in mind, everybody has 2 games left, 3 points per win, 1 point per tie. And the top 8 of 11 make it. So
keep in mind, we're like 95% sure we're in. But that 5% always creates a little doubt. Here's where
we got 5 through 9. 5 is Shawnee State with 13. Now I should throw Shawnee State is in. I mention them only because Midway, who is 6 with 12 points, plays them tomorrow, so it could move into that 5th spot. After that, 7, St. Mary of the Woods with 11 points. 8, Brescia with 7. 9, West Virginia Tech with 6. I've had a block of text on the screen here. I'm going to take it off for aesthetic purposes, but if you want to go back and write it because there's a lot to follow here. By my count, Brescia and West Virginia Tech both have to win out and we have to lose both of our games to get ahead of us. But they both play St. Mary of the Woods, who has 11 points. So if that happens, St. Mary's would have 11 points, and they would be on the outside. Now, the thing we got stuck on was a tiebreaker.
A 3-way tie,
between Midway, West Virginia Tech, and St. Mary of the Woods, who would all have 12 points, and the tiebreaker thing is completely scrambled there. But for that to happen, if we all had 12, that would mean that St. Mary's of the Woods had to have tied Brescia and beaten West Virginia Tech, and that situation would have left Brescia with 11 points, which is less than 12, which would leave them out of the field.
Last I checked, it's less than 12.
Yes.
Last I checked.
Yes. This is a scenario that was basically living inside my brain last night, So if you see any flaws in this, let us know. But we think that the Midway Eagles are in the tournament. But I actually was just talking to Coach Cheryl Smith earlier, and he said basically regardless, if we win, we take care of business, that's fine. We have a shot to improve our seeding tomorrow against Shawnee State. But also, I think the reason we're is invested in this is we haven't made a conference tournament since 2014. So, we've seen the improvements of this team. They had a rough week against some tough competition, but you go that long, it's significant if you're able to punch your ticket into the conference tournament.
Yeah, no. And speaking of the game yesterday, they didn't look very good. And we really, to be all honest, and Coach Smith, I think, would agree. This team has not looked good. I think some of that is the competition, but you get a resounding 4-1 win yesterday, and you kind of take a stranglehold on a spot in the playoffs, and you want to do everything you can now that you think you're in, that you want to improve your playoff seeding. Those 1 through 4 seeds will host a playoff game. The 5 through 8 teams are on the road. So if you could get a chance to lock up one of those top 4 seeds and give yourself a home playoff game, that would be a huge step for the program, I think. So hopefully they get back on track, and I think they will. in these last couple games.
Yeah. Also of note, the star of our show recently has been Haley Applegate. We should point out 2 more goals yesterday. She now leads the River State Conference with 13 goals.
Notch above.
So it's notch above. So that's well, if you like soccer seeding scenarios, we're not going to be as detailed here, but we got more with our men's team. First, we should talk about their game against Ohio Christian Saturday. Second most goals in program history. They had an 8-1 win. It was tied for the second. We also had an 8-0 win over Pikeville on September 22nd, 2016. Our 4th match ever. So we really came firing out of the gates. Topped only by a 13-1 win over Carlo.
2 years to the day.
Yes. On the anniversary of that game, we put up 8. Hat trick by Henry Alvor, a goal and 3 assists by Jared Baston. We had 2 other players with 2 assists. An offensive explosion. But the standout was obviously that Henry Alvor hat trick, which leads us to.
Oh no!
Are you prepared? Clay Cunningham's hat trick head scratcher. This is our trivia portion for the week. Now, this is another one that the information's kind of been out there in the ether, but I think we were completely with work and maybe a few extra things that might have happened after the football game.
I don't know what you're talking
unrelated
about.
to anyone out there. If you're at a stoplight and it's red, stop your car. But
please.
Anyway, yeah, regardless.
Anyway.
So, yes, Clay Cunningham's hat trick head scratcher. Prior to Henry on Saturday,
Oh boy.
who had Midway's last hat trick? Yeah, here are 4 options. Jacob Smith. I'm going to butcher this name. Unais Shinyani. Thomas Sidebottom or Brad Wilson.
Ooh. I feel like this is kind of like an open note. I feel like I read this in the recap, and it would either does this question have possible 2 answers?
No hints.
Oh man.
There's one answer.
There's one definitive answer. Okay, the last one to score a hat trick. I want to say they both did it in the same game. That same game against Carlo. But I'm gonna go with Thomas Sidebottom.
Man, I was literally trying to trick you. You unpeeled every single layer of this question.
Because I know exactly what you're doing here. They both scored a hat trick.
Oh man,
they both scored a hat trick in that game.
A man has to admit when he's beaten game, set, match. They did that very same game. I was trying to trick you. Thomas actually scored his last. So I think by my count he is. You got nothing to be nervous about, man. I can do nothing but tip my cap to you. Not only getting it right, it's like you were in my notes.
It was not in his notes.
Well, no accusations. I'm genuinely impressed. But that was a nice win to get us into 8th place with 2 games left. We were at home for Shawnee State Thursday and IU East on Saturday. East is currently 1 point ahead of us. Now, we haven't clinched, but 1 win because we have St. Mary's and Brescia are both 5 points back. And what you know, they also play. And I think I got slightly into scenarios, and then my brain kind of separates. I'm gonna have an aneurysm to stop you.
Are you talking about playoffs?
So yeah.
Playoffs.
Get that out of here. But yeah, basically 1 win and we're in. I can say definitively the men's team has not clinched. They're in very good shape, but 1 win would certainly help it because this would be their first appearance in 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. That program is taking a little bit of a dip, but I think they're certainly on the up and up. And they started playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that game the other day against Ohio Christian, they peppered them in those first couple minutes. Felt like you probably should have had a couple goals in that first couple minutes. You had a couple nice corner kicks and just unable to convert upon those. But anyway, a nice resounding win for them, and hopefully going in the right direction, going in these last 2 games, which I think are certainly two winnable games.
Yeah,
going in.
East
going
is
into.
right there. Yeah, the standing. Yeah, morale was definitely low after a loss to St. Mary of the Woods early in the year, but really they followed that up with 2 straight wins.
Two straight wins.
They've looked much sharper because even like a loss against Point Park last week, they looked really good.
Yeah.
Point Park's a solid team, so. Yeah, hopefully got some postseason to look forward to there, but just a little regular season left.
Playoffs.
It's just the master of the Jim Mora impression. Now this is not a repeat here. We're going into cross country.
Trinity Smith.
Last week we talked about her setting the
She's
6K record. Yes.
Super fast.
Super fast sprinting in cross country, which they say is a strategy you should not implement. But look at the results. Now a 6K record and then this week she broke the 5K record with a 19-minute 7-second run at the NAI Appalachian Challenge. This was a mark that has stood since 1999.
24 years.
Set by Lisa Warren, presumably before Trinity was born.
Presumably,
but just 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no, a terrific performance by her. Felt like she could have very well been the RSC Runner of the Week, but she was snubbed.
Grind that axe, Dylan.
Number one in our heart.
Grind that axe.
Number one. But anyway, a terrific performance by Trinity Smith. She's, again, I talked about it last week, how she's closing that gap. She's certainly turning into form. Heading into the conference championships, which I believe Midway will be hosting in a couple weeks. We'll discuss that more next week.
I've heard that rumor. Yeah, it was fun too because I saw her on campus before the 5K between us, and I said, "Congrats!" Thank you. You almost feel her body shrink to a singular point. So be sure to bring it up if you see her because she
certainly deserves it.
She's overly boastful, but yes.
Now record holder in both the 5 and the 6K.
What more could you want? And the men in that same Appalachian Challenge got top 20 finishes from Jacob and Josiah Kosis. Jacob was 16th, Josiah 20th. This was also their last race before the RSC. Jacob, the defending champion. Obviously, you're going to have high expectations as far as that goes.
Yeah. No, I think Jacob, in the preview meet, didn't win that one. I think he was still coming back from an injury, but comparing his time to where he is now to where he was at the end of last year, I know it's different courses and it's kind of difficult to compare courses. It's like kind of comparing apples to oranges, but Jacob certainly seems to be returning to form. That's going to be a battle for the medalist. I think Shawnee is probably going to be right there for the team. And if you watch the season preview, which why didn't you?
Yeah.
But anyway,
you
certainly missed out. But anyway, no, Jacob's going to be right there. I think there's going to be a couple other kids there as well. I think Rio's Tyler Jenkins. He's won RSC Runner of the Week a couple times. Shawnee certainly is going to be formidable right there. So looking forward to seeing. Unfortunately, we'll have football that day. So Clayton will be the man on the scene for that one. So hopefully he can watch and root Jacob on to defending that title.
I was going to say, I'll be your eyes and ears, but the spectators, but be your own eyes and ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on out. For sales.
It's 10 and 11 a.m.
That's
10 and 11 a.m.
No
then you make the trip down 62, and then you get on 64, and you hit Western Hills High School, and you're right there. What more are you gonna do on a Saturday?
Yeah, it's selfish to suggest that you have other options, but yes, that's a lot to look forward to. Getting into the last couple things a little quicker. Volleyball had a 2-1 week. I know they swept Brescia relatively easily last night. Lost at Shawnee on Saturday, but really the one that stood out Friday, wild statistical explosion in a 3-2 win against Ohio Christian.
That one was wild. That Clayton said it best. That one was wild. I mean, I don't know that I've seen a box score quite like that one. I was looking in the fourth set. We were up 2-1 at the time, and it's like, okay, it looks like we're pretty comfortably. No, we were not. In a match that all 5 sets were decided by less than 3 points.
Yeah.
And
or three or less. One was 25-22.
25-22. Three or fewer points. And then 3 of those 5 sets go to extra points. It's like, my goodness, that one was quite the thriller. And then the box score, 82 kills, which we're breaking records left and right on here. But that one I think was probably the most we've had in a match. I went all the way back to before 2007, so that online database, hopefully it holds up.
And well, I think the thing that stood out to me was Valerie Ramos with 65 assists.
65 assists.
How long is that? Do you have any information on when that was last?
I'm pretty sure that would probably be a record as well, but who knows? But anyway, they're fighting for their playoff lives. Won 3 of 4. Got a tough stretch here to end the season. You go on the road to Oakland City next week. Then you have probably the top 2 teams, I think, you've still got of your 5 final matches, you've got teams that are above you in the standings in the RSC West Division. So you can't really, it's difficult to pay attention to the standings online because they go by a point system. And if you're able to figure out that point system, please let me know. Please let us know. That way we can.
I won't understand.
That way Clayton can take another deep dive into the playoff.
This is you're Mr. Volleyball here, man. But I think in a way, you could argue.
I know, but you just had so much fun going through the last one.
I did. And I slept like a baby last night too, as you can probably tell. I don't feel disheveled at all. But yeah, home stretch for volleyball. We'll see how it plays out. Playing against teams above you in the standings, challenging, but might not be the worst thing because obviously that is a good way to boost your resume. But we'll see, and we'll close out with golf. We'll close golf for the fall. Actually, we got RSC Golfer of the Week award for Jack Bedell. It was a highlight of a very busy and perhaps not exactly what Coach Otis Smith was. I say perhaps when I heard him directly say it wasn't exactly what he wanted, but just
there was a lot of golf. A lot of golf.
I think he said 104 holes in 4 days. I think the men played.
So you had 18. If you want to put a calculator here on the side, like right here on the side, they played 18 for the practice round. They played 36 for the first round for the first 2 rounds of the Bojangles. Good chicken, by the way. Then they played at 18 on Sunday. Then they came on up to Richmond. They played in the Gibson Bay. They played 36 there. And then they played another 18 yesterday. So that's too much math for
72, 36, 18. I had it.
That's too much math for me.
I'm just trying to do it so I don't have to make more text on the screen. But,
why not? That's fun. That's what makes it fun.
Oh yes, absolutely. As the editor of these videos, I can tell you it's my favorite part of every week.
Great job.
But so just on to spring, I guess. This is obviously, on to spring. This is a sport we always have high expectations for here, which I think could maybe lead to Coach Smith's disappointment, but there's plenty of time to correct it.
Coach Smith said it was just blah. The fall season, I think it was just blah. Anyway, the chance for them to regroup and come into that spring season strong. So tongue twister there.
But there's nothing blah about you, our beloved audience. Thank you for watching this. We're going to try to condense these shows. It's going to be a little difficult with everything coming together, but very excited for basketball season to start and just to see how all these postseasons progress. Like we always say, sleep is what July is for.
Sleep is what
July is what sleep. I don't.
Anyway,
who gives a crap?
That's right.
The show's over. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.